Tennessee Titans fans, a new coaching candidate may have just entered the chat from the college ranks. Listen to Adam Schefter tell you about who he thinks could be a red-hot coaching candidate in the NFL this offseason.
I don't know and don't think that there is a Ben Johnson at the NFL level this year. Last year, everybody could look at Ben Johnson, and everybody wanted to talk to Ben Johnson. Everybody wanted to hire Ben Johnson. I don't think that there is a Ben Johnson this year.
I know that sucks to hear, but it's the truth. I mean, Ben Johnson was viewed as a surefire. This guy can come in and do it, and he's proven to be just that for Chicago. But I agree with what Adam's saying, and I know that's not fun to hear, but there is no like brilliant offensive-minded head coach who can come in and reinvigorate your organization. On the surface, I mean, there's at least not that surefire guy, that surefire young, you hope that you could find one, but Ben Johnson was like viewed as a sure thing, and I agree that there's not a guy like that this go round. But that could be said most offseason.
The NFL level. The only guy I could think of that would be in this category, and I don't know that he would be interested, would be Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. That's a guy that, to me, if I owned an NFL team, I'd want him on the phone right now.
Wow.
That's a guy that I would want to be hiring right now.
Wow.
That's a guy that I would be investing in right now. Now, I'm not telling you that he's even going to go. He may be very happy in South Bend, Indiana.
I mean, that's high praise from Adam Schefter right there. If I were an NFL team who needed a coach, I would be on the phone with him. I would be making him an offer. That is high praise from Adam Schefter. High praise.
And he may be staying there a long time. But I don't look at the cycle this year and say, this guy is a lock for a head coaching job at the end of this cycle. I don't see it.
That's
You got somebody at the NFL level this year that you are convinced is getting one of these jobs?
No, I don't. I absolutely don't. So I think there's going to be guys who've gotten interviews in the past. I think someone like Lou Anarumo, who came close to a couple jobs a few years ago, has impressed people. He's probably going to slot into one of these places. But I don't think it's going to be like what was so significant about the Bears hiring Ben Johnson is everybody wanted to hire Ben Johnson.
That's my point.
They got the guy. Yes.
Right.
And so there's not going to be a feeding frenzy over one guy unless Marcus Freeman, as you said, indicates that he's open to going to these places. Now,
that's so interesting that they are comparing him. They're saying he could be the Ben Johnson of this coaching cycle. I mean, that's high praise for somebody that we hadn't even thought about.
Sometimes these college coach interests with the NFL, sometimes has to be very, very clandestine. We only hear it 10 years after the fact and say, oh, I talked to this guy. Like Mike Gundy talked a couple of years ago about how he had an interview with maybe the Bucks, and no one knew about it at the time because you just can't get that out there because then it's recruits and it's coaches, negative recruiting, all that stuff. So it's a very, you have to walk on eggshells if you're doing it. But I agree. I met Marcus Freeman. I've met him twice at ESPN because they do the car wash thing in the summer. He brought Jeremiah Love this year. I think he understands
Jeremiah Love,
not only the game and defense, and you just see the improvements they've made over the course of the season. Now, Miami should get in the playoff over them, but that's not the kind of show we do here. But I think he's amazing, and I think he'd be an amazing coach. And I just, I think that he played at Ohio State. He coached the highest level at Notre Dame. I just think that should be everybody's first call. But again, it's just up to him. It comes down, Adam, you know the college game. You know college coaches. It comes down to whether or not Marcus loves recruiting, NIL, and modern roster building.
Right.
If you do, Notre Dame is one of the best places to be. If you don't, there's going to be a lot of NFL opportunities. It's literally that, and that's unknowable except outside the Freeman household.
Yeah. So, well, let me finish the clip. I don't want you guys to miss
and a lot of
anything.
people are getting tired of that, and a lot of people don't want a part of that. I don't know where he is on that. I've never asked him
exactly.
that, right? I've never asked him that, but I just think that that's a guy that I think will hold a lot of interest to a lot of people. I think there's a lot of names. We could trot out all the names at the NFL level. We've heard them all. You brought up Lou Anarumo, right? There's a half dozen others, a dozen others. No need to bring up all the names again. Many of them are qualified. Many of them are great coaches. Many of them will get interviews. But I don't see one guy that every team is clamoring for this year the way it was last year.
Again, that's the truth. Absolutely. But you could say that most years. I mean, Ben Johnson was a rarity in that, like, he was such a commodity. Usually there are those same names, like he said, that are thrown out there that get interviews and things like that. Marcus Freeman. Here's my thing on him, because there is a huge part of me that loves that idea, because I think Marcus Freeman, I mean, that's high praise from Adam Schefter and this other fella here. Marcus Freeman is a culture guy. He is a team builder. He's a communicator. He's done a phenomenal job at Notre Dame. Players love him. He is well thought of and well spoken of by anybody that has ever had anything to do with him. And he took over for Brian Kelly, who in many circles is the opposite of those things I just said about Marcus Freeman. I do question whether he'd be interested. Like they said, he may be very happy in Notre Dame and want to stay there, and that's fine if so. But if he's interested, like, yeah, get him in the building for an interview. Like, because there is a lot of upside there. My big hesitation, though, for the Titans, he has no experience coaching in the NFL. Like, Steve Sarkisian at least has experience coaching in the NFL. Lane Kiffin, who obviously has landed somewhere, but I threw out Lane Kiffin's name because at least he has experience coaching in the NFL. It's not very good experience, but it's experience. Marcus Freeman does not have experience coaching in the NFL. That's my holdup, because remember the Jaguars when they hired Urban Meyer? He had all of this great success at the college level. And now there are some key differences between Marcus Freeman and Urban Meyer that aren't even worth getting into here. But just because somebody's a great coach in college doesn't mean they'll be a great coach in the pros, and you need to knock this head coaching hire out of the park. Hiring a guy who has no experience coaching in the NFL, there is a giant risk to that, even if he is a good coach at the college level and is a good culture guy. Here's just one thing I will say, though. We've thrown out Mike McCarthy's name a lot because the Titans need a stabilizer. They need an experienced guy who can coach. Mike McCarthy fits that, but if not Mike McCarthy, if Mike McCarthy goes somewhere else, or if he says he wants to stay retired or whatever, who's next? Because you have a bunch of guys who have not been head coaches in the NFL. You hire a coordinator from somewhere who's never been a head coach. That's a risk. Or you hire somebody who's been fired as a head coach before and now is going to get their second chance. Okay, that can work, but that's still a risk too. I mean, that person got fired from another team for some reason as a head coach. Or you do something like this. I mean, it's risky any way you slice it. Mike McCarthy is the safest option, but like some of y'all mentioned John Gruden, it's like, okay, and I'm doing a video today about tier ranking each possible coach. John Gruden's a risk. I know it would be an exciting risk, but it's a risk. Very much so. All of these guys are a risk. If you get Marcus Freeman in the building and he's able to interview well enough that you're willing to take a shot on him, even though he's never coached in the NFL, that would excite me. I would be intrigued by Marcus Freeman. It scares me to death because he has no experience coaching in the NFL, but there's a lot of upside there. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Tighten up.